So 5 years ago, a good e-invoicing solution was meant that you're simply compliant, right? And if you generate the right XML, connect to the government platform and exchange invoices, that was simply enough. Today, compliance is the bare minimum. What really defines a good solution now is how we support the businesses day to day. So for example, does it integrate with the ERP, procurement, supply chain systems? How is it integrating with your systems? Does it reduce manual work for finance teams? Does it give tax and compliance leaders confidence that new rules are being tracked and implemented automatically? These are the questions that businesses should be asking when they're considering a new solution, if they want one that will really add value along with adding that compliance. Post-audit isn't dead yet. While the US and a handful of other jurisdictions are likely to stick with post-audit for the foreseeable future, for political and structural reasons, this approach is becoming the exception, not the rule, right? So elsewhere, under growing pressure to close that VAT gap, more and more governments are implementing continuous transaction controls, right? That's what we're hearing now with the famous CTC. So doomed? Not immediately, but increasingly marginalized? Absolutely. For global businesses, the real test is judging C2C and post-audit systems simultaneously without losing control. The smart move for enterprises is to design systems that can absorb this shift seamlessly, rather than scrambling each time to try and catch a country that's maybe flipping a switch. There are two mistakes that I'm seeing over and over again. The first one is probably the lack of ownership. So I often call e-invoicing a hot potato, right? As it gets passed between tax, IT, finance, because nobody really wants it. And the irony is that while no department wants to own it, every department depends on it, right? At the end of the day, if you do not send invoices the right way, you're not getting paid. And therefore, it's a business critical process. The companies that succeed are really those that are treating e-invoicing as a problem to be delegated and recognize it as a shared responsibility. Having clear roles and responsibilities is the only way to break down silos. Without this, things are becoming quickly fragmented and inefficient. The second most common mistake that I am seeing is not having master data strategy, right? Even the best technology cannot fix poor foundations. Wrong VAT IDs and incomplete product codes and some are the most common reasons invoices get rejected by government platforms. So for a multinational with tens of thousands of trading partners, a strong master data strategy is the only way to keep invoices flowing smoothly. And e-invoicing isn't just a one-off project you set it and forget it, right? We need to take into consideration that regulations evolve consistently. Compliance has to be maintained, updated, and monitored continuously, right? So treating it as a static project is a sure way failure or a surefire way, let's say, to fall behind. Vendor sprawl is one of those problems that creep up on multinationals, I think. At first, it may feel a little bit easier to just grab a local provider for each country, but before you know it, you've got a dozen different systems, formats, dashboards, and you're in a little bit of a mess, right? So the danger is that this patchwork is almost impossible to manage at scale. Finance loses visibility because data sits in silos, IT is drowning in integrations, and when an audit comes around, it's chaos. As more countries roll out their own e-invoicing and reporting mandates, vendor sprawl is becoming a serious issue, which is why we're seeing more and more enterprises shift to a centralized or global platform, and I only expect this to increase over the coming years. Compliance might be the trigger, but to be honest, it's not where the real value lies, right? For multinationals, managing dozens of formats, country-specific rules, and outdated workflows is a real pain. Modernizing e-invoices is about lifting that weight and making the whole system run better. The main benefits fall into 4 categories, I believe. So first is the efficiency, as digitalization means fewer manual errors, quicker cycle times, and less admin. Second, I would say, is data visibility. So instead of having to stitch together spreadsheets from dozens of subsidiaries with e-invoicing, finance gets that real clear view of spend, revenue, and tax exposure. Supplier experience is third, right? As standardization makes it far easier to onboard and manage suppliers, which is critical in global supply chains. And perhaps not the most valuable benefit of all, though, is the fact that a successful e-invoicing solution sets you up perfectly for future technological regulation developments, right? So once invoices are electronic and standardized, you're effectively, built the rails for everything else, from advanced analytics and AI-driven fraud detection to future mandates covering other document types. So while getting to grips with e-invoicing may seem like a pain in the short term, it is worth remembering that a good solution can be a real growth enabler in the long term. Absolutely. E-invoicing is just the start, right? So once governments can capture structured invoice data, it's only natural they're going to extend this to other areas of compliance, right? So we're seeing that with e-invoicing or e-reporting rather in Hungary and Spain, e-transport systems in Romania and Turkey. So for most, or so far, most rules are focusing on outgoing invoices, but expansion to incoming ones, it's only a matter of time, right? It's already there in so many places. From there, we have purchase orders and other supply chain documents will follow. So step by step, automation will cover the full transaction cycle, which is why it's crucial to work with a partner that can adapt quickly as these changes roll out. Don't just buy software, choose a partner. Technology alone won't keep you compliant in an environment where rules change monthly, sometimes weekly. In fact, if we look to Latin America, almost daily, you need a provider that also acts as a regulatory intelligence service, monitoring changes, interpreting laws, and updating the platform without you having to chase them. Equally important, I would say, is to look beyond the here and now, right? Being compliant in 12 countries today means nothing if you can't scale to 40 tomorrow, right? The right partner should grow with your footprint, adapt as new mandates appear, and make sure compliance doesn't become a barrier to expansion for your business.